Hello, my fellow movie fans, and welcome to another episode of A Feast of Films Theatre with your hosts, Matthew Ayalew and Ethan R. Hill. How's that? That was good?
Yeah. Classic. Classic. What's going on, my fellow movie fans? Welcome to another episode of A Feast of Films. I'm your host, Matt Ayalew. This is episode something. I don't remember what episode number we're on anymore.
We've stopped with the
I've
episode numbers.
lost
We
track.
just put them on the thumbnail.
I've lost track. Also, I've been gone for 2 weeks, so it's good to be back hanging out with you guys. But I'm not alone. I'm not alone. With me, as always, is...
Yes, you are.
Ethan Hill.
You're incredibly alone.
I'm not alone. He's with me, as always. The voices in my head that you can also hear. Ethan R. Hill.
R. Hill.
Lil.
Hi, I'm here. No one else is, though. There's no one else here. If you hear another voice, it's just me doing an impression.
Hi, Avast, it's Jesse Prosser
Hi,
here.
Avast. What's wrong with
Here
you?
once again.
Matt, why did we let him back?
Ooh, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. So I go on vacation for a couple weeks, and I'm listening to the podcast, and I was like, oh, Jesse's on there. Cool, at least Ethan's not by himself. And then I come back, and I'm ready to record with Ethan, and Prosser's like, I'm here too, guys. And it's like, I thought we got rid of you. He's like, not so fast.
No, Matt.
I'm here now, and I'm not leaving.
Matt, what it really was is we were gonna record, and then the one time that I got lunch from work, I food poisoned myself, so we had to move it to a day where Prosser was here too.
Yeah, Ethan was literally pooping his pants. That was the thing.
No, I wasn't. I was throwing
You
up.
pooped your pants at work. We all know
Unlikely
it.
story.
We
I
all
did-
know it.
Yes.
That's how
Okay,
food
so-
poisoning works.
Yeah.
You poop
it
your
just
pants, and they're
happens.
like, you tell your boss, like, man, I'm sick. I think I need to go home. And they're like, I don't believe you. Then you crap your pants and like, get the hell out of here. That is the chain of events. How it
gee,
works every
Well, gee,
time.
I didn't know it was
So that's
serious.
that's kind of how it went down. Is I went up and I'm like, hey, something hit my stomach. Can I go home? And they're like, yeah, absolutely, go home. And I go to my desk and I start packing things up, and immediately I'm like, oh no! And I book it to the bathroom and just vomit heavily.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm just like, so I'm done. And then I come out of the bathroom. I
Oh.
finish what I need to, come out of the bathroom. And they're like, why are you still here? You look like you're gonna throw up. And I'm like, I just did. They're like, get out of here then. Why are you still here?
I just did.
Why are you still here?
Well, and then,
Oh
and
my
then,
God.
'cause I don't like calling in sick. I don't like going home sick because unless I'm exhibiting COVID signs, which I wasn't. Or
What if you're exhibiting COVID signs?
COVID signs?
COVID
COVID
yeah.
signs. Or if I'm dying in a hospital. Those are the only two reasons why I will stay home.
Fair enough.
And this was just like, I was fine for the entire day, and then I ate lunch, and 4 hours later...
Yeah, I am not okay. This is not okay.
And so, so I hesitated. I tried to tough it out for, like, a half an hour. And, like, if I would have... It's lucky that I did, because if I would have just, the minute I started feeling sick, was like, hey, I need to go home, I would have been on the road when I threw up.
Oh, yeah, that would be
And
bad.
Yeah, it would have been terrible,
Just
right?
like all
so-
over your car.
Just roll down the window.
Oh, man, like, and it was like-
yeah, just roll out a window and throw up. Listen, if Mr. Bean can get ready for the day and dressed while driving his car,
Yep.
you could probably handle that.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have pulled over and been on the side of the road, but good
Nah,
gravy.
just right into oncoming traffic. Just,
It was, man, like, so then I went home and, like, that's when I messaged you being like, hey, so I'm pretty much dead. I'm gonna sleep for a couple hours, and we'll see how I'm feeling. And no, I basically slept all the way through
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
from, like, 6 o'clock to, like, for 12 hours, basically. I just slept.
Ah, that's crazy.
So yeah, and that's why we're here today, and that's why Prosser can join us, is because, because I poisoned myself with fish. Don't get the fish.
Never get the fish. Gefilte fish.
I
What?
feel like I
What's
should've
the
known
line?
that.
Gefilte fish. I need some more of this. What's this fish called again? Yeah, Rush Hour 2.
I haven't seen that movie in so
Oh,
long.
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour 2 outtakes at the end. Bloopers.
I keep debating going back and watching the Rush Hour films because
Dude,
I enjoyed them.
Just
Growing up.
watch 2, man. 1 is
I like
okay.
one.
1's
One
pretty
is
good.
fun.
3
One's
is
a good
like,
setup.
nah, man. I watched 3 once. I was like, nah. Nah.
Are you excited for part 4?
Are they making a part 4?
I thought they were.
Oh,
course
I
they
don't know.
would.
I haven't heard anything. Maybe.
Is it 2021 and it's a franchise that was popular 20 years ago? Heck yeah!
Let's do it. That's what it's all about. But yeah, no, it's good to be back. If you guys notice any weird audio problems, I just got a new PC and I've been working on setting it up, and we kind of ran into some weird audio problems here coming in and out. So I don't know if mine will sound weird or not. We'll have to wait and see.
And then mine and Proctor's might sound weird because we're sharing a microphone. So
Yeah, there might be a lot of kind of weird noises happening today.
that is fine. We'll just blame the editor.
But you know what?
Okay.
Yeah, let's just do that. Yeah, Prosser's gonna be like, this goddamn editor sucks.
He's
Like,
the worst.
he-
Oh wait,
he's also me, but it's okay.
I've had to outsource.
he's never had that. He's never had so much self-loathing until this podcast.
the outsource has had to outsource.
The outsource has been outsourced. Yeah,
Everyone keeps getting sick from listening to us talk.
Yep.
yeah, that's
It's like the brown note.
That's rude. Matt's right there.
Well then,
well, with that casual racism out of the way, let's move
Our
on.
first edit point.
God damn it.
Let's move on into our main discussion and topic of the day. We're talking about Star Wars today. We're doing Star Wars, right? Yeah, we're talking about Star Wars.
I hope so.
We're on episode number 8, The Last Jedi, one of the most divisive Star Wars in recent memory. Let's talk about what are your guys' thoughts on it just overall. Let's just get like a baseline here where we're all at, and then we can dig into it, because I think we're going to have some slightly different opinions. But Ethan, let's start with you. You're always the most divisive person around.
Let's start with Debbie Downer.
Let's start with the guy who likes to argue about things. Mr. Casual Racism. That's gotta stay in, man. That's gold. That's gold.
Is that how you're gonna win your argument? By just like,
Yeah,
well,
every time now.
Ethan dislikes
That
Last
is my
Jedi,
ammunition.
But
He's gonna be like, Luke Skywalker's the worst. I was like, but you're
Didn't
casually
I just say didn't I just say that you
so-
can't say that?
Yeah.
Didn't I call out Prosser on
Yeah.
some casual racism?
Oh man, this is too funny.
I'm pretty
Okay,
sure I called him.
but for real, Ethan, what do you got going on here, man?
So like, there's a lot of problems with this film overall. Like it's got some really good stuff, but then it's got some just really bad storytelling and structure. I think again we discussed it to death. The problem at the end of the day is the lack of guidance throughout. And Rian Johnson is a good filmmaker. I like his work. Knives Out is an amazing movie.
yeah, 100%.
This one, the problem I have with this one is it doesn't feel like a Star Wars film for most of it. The cinematography is pretty off. It's very modern cinematography. Even like the styling of the humor is very modern. And that's fine because it is a modern film. But when it comes to dealing with Star Wars as a whole, you don't get much of a creative say, in my opinion, when it comes to the franchise. Because the franchise is bigger than any person. The franchise is bigger than George Lucas. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
so at the end of the day, the creative decisions that Rian Johnson made, they would work in any other film. But because it's Star Wars, it kind of took away from it at the end of the day.
Fair enough.
And like I didn't hate where a lot of the stories were going. I just hate how a lot of it was executed.
Cool. What about you, Prosser? What do you think? What are your overall thoughts on this film?
Well, I actually really like The Last Jedi. I describe it to people in that, like, it's a movie that...
No beating up your co-hosts because they have different opinions, Ethan.
I don't know what anyone's talking about.
You're
guys
exhibiting
don't-
very negative behavior today.
you guys can't see it, but Ethan hit me over the head with a pillow twice now.
Oh no, a
For
pillow's
having-
hurting
Yeah,
you.
For having a
You should
for having-
have said like a brick or something, Prosser.
for
You're just like
having-
he's
yes,
hitting me with a pillow.
With Ryan Johnson's earlier film, Brick.
Ethan has pulled out a chainsaw and is sawing up
He's sawing my
God damn.
God damn it,
Any-
Andy.
So, anyways, so well, I can't remember my name now. So, Last Jedi, I described to people as a movie that I absolutely love 60% of it, and then it is 40% of why did you do that? Why would you do that? What made you make that decision? Like, it was a lot of like confusing stuff, and then like there was some stuff that I'm like, I'm not a fan of this at all, and it's some of the worst stuff in Star Wars. Not nearly like Clone Wars, like Attack of the Clones bad, but some of the worst stuff in Star Wars. But like for me, it's a movie where the lows are pretty low, but the highs are really high for me. So it's a weird mixed bag, but overall I consider it I consider it a movie that is good. I like the movie quite a bit. So
Well, like to clarify too, I'm not saying that the movie is like the worst movie ever or is terrible. I just don't think it's as strong as it could be.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. I'd agree with that. I'm definitely more on Prosser's side right now, as far as just how I feel about this thing, because it is a mixed bag. At the end of the day, even the people who like it, which is me, I am one of those people who came out of The Last Jedi saying I liked this film. There was enough good for me to say I liked it. There was a lot of bad though, and that's the thing. That's the thing. This isn't nowhere near a perfect film. There's a lot of just creative decisions, character decisions, even like plot decisions that we were talking about structurally. There was a lot of things that really could have been thought out and executed better. And I think a lot of that comes down to, as we found out when we got to like Rise of Skywalker and stuff, clearly there was no plan. There was no idea what was going forward. There's no connectivity. Like even just the idea that in Star Wars Episode 7, they destroyed like the New Republic or whatever, right? They used Starkiller Base and blew up like 4 or 5 planets. Never mentioned again after that. No one gave a crap about those 5, like 5 planets worth of people. Everyone's like, never brought up again.
Well, and I think a part of that problem is the fact that this film takes place right after.
Yeah,
there should have been a window.
But you would think like immediately right after there would still be some like kind of surge coming off of that, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think the reason, like, that's why it's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if this movie took place 3 months to a year after, and you could do the exact same story. It's just like, hey, they're fleeing. They've been tracked down to their new base, and they're fleeing.
Yeah,
it's literally what Episode 5 was. It's this, and again, that's where when people complain, it's like Force Awakens is just like Episode 4, but this one is nothing like Episode 5. No, there's a lot of beats that are incredibly similar.
Yeah,
100%. But
for sure. But
elements are
it's the same.
remixed.
A lot of the people who are very, I think maybe I'm wrong on this. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong on this. Aren't the people who like love this film also ones who love Rogue One? Or am I thinking the opposite?
I think it's not necessarily guaranteed, right? Because I think they're both very different films, and everyone's gonna see things differently. But like, but like overall for me, there is, and we'll talk about some of the decisions and stuff that I think that were wrong and that you guys think were wrong. But I think we can all agree there are good things in here too. There was just enough good things for me, or things that I liked, that I would say I overall liked this film. It's not my favorite Star Wars film. Don't get that twisted. Don't get that confused. But I do like this film.
And I guess for clarity's sake, like, where would you, like, I don't know if you guys have done rankings up to this point when you're doing the Star Wars discussions at all, but, like, whereabouts would you say it does fit as far as, like, the other movies are concerned?
For myself, it's probably somewhere near like middle of the prequels, somewhere in there. Like Clone Wars is easily Attack of the Clones, sorry, not Clone Wars. Attack of the Clones is easily the worst one for me. Easily. Agreed, sitting down watching that when we watched that just over a year ago now. was a terrible experience. I absolutely hated watching that. I was like, it was just painful watching Anakin be Anakin. I was just like, God,
Even Christopher Lee couldn't save
this
that.
is
It's
this is
between
rough. But like for me, it's still above that. But I don't think I'd put it above Revenge of the Sith. Like, and it doesn't even get anywhere near to the original trilogy.
Right.
No, and it's again same thing for like for me, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker are kind of in the similar boat because I like the characters enough that I like to see the journeys that they go on, but both of those movies are such a mess that like Force Awakens for me is up in the new trilogy or up with the original trilogy. I love that movie as much as I love the first three original ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I agree with you. It's somewhere.
Like, I think I
I don't
would
know,
go
like,
like, and
it's-
not including 9, because I'll include 9 when we talk about 9.
Yeah.
But up to this point, the ones we've talked about, like I would go 2, and then it would be either probably 1 or 8. Like that's kind of the part, like somewhere between 1 or 8. And then for me, it would
Okay.
be Return of the Sith. Like I think that one's still my favorite out of the prequels. And then the original trilogy is still in touch. And I think honestly, I would put Episode 7 in between the prequels and the new trilogy. Because for me, yeah, the new trilogy is still like Episode 7's really good. It's
It sets
really
up
good.
so much, and then
So
like,
much.
nothing.
But it does lose points because none of it was ever paid off, right? So it does
Well,
lose
I'm
points
so
on that.
mad.
Well, and again, for me, it's like, so again, like for me personally, because and I know how much you guys both love Return of the Jedi, I actually would put like basically it's just below Return of the Jedi for me. Like this is probably my 5th favorite Star Wars movie.
Oh, okay, like
Like-
it's that high, yeah.
Yeah, like I would put Force Awakens above Return of the Jedi, and Return of the Jedi is probably my number 4.
Mm.
So like about there, but I like it. I like it more, like not as much as those movies, but I like it more than Revenge of the Sith.
Well, and like Matt, we've aggressed.
And I like Revenge of the Sith more than I like Rise of Skywalker, to be clear.
But like
Fair enough.
Matt, me and you, I think we've addressed this. We're weird that Return of the Jedi is one of our favorites.
Yeah, I think we are. I think we are the odd ones. The odd ones out. I think most people like Empire the most.
Yeah, I am one of those people. So
Yeah.
like I love Empire so much.
But like, even though it's lower on my list, I'm not saying I still like the movie. But like, because
Star
my
Wars is
problem
still
is,
Star Wars
I
at
just
the end
like
of the day.
Star Wars. Like, I'm so
Yeah,
biased.
right?
Like, I just like it all pretty much, minus like Attack of the Clones. That was just
We'll
painful.
sit there.
There's only
We sit there and complain, and then as soon as lightsabers come out, we're like, "Ooh, shiny!"
yeah, we're like, oh, cool. Never mind. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Oh, I hate this. I hate this episode 2 thing. Ooh, look at the creatures in the Geonosian ring.
See that?
Ooh.
Like every movie does have its redeeming features at the
Right?
very
Like-
least. Like even Attack of the
Ooh,
Clones
Jango
had
Fett, ooh.
really
Ooh,
cool
Jango
set
Fett.
pieces. But it was just like how any of the story worked and getting there and like the character development. Like we talked about
Yeah.
this already. Like it's painful.
And
It's painful.
But it's the same
You might as
thing-
well
it's
just
the same-
skip to the last third of the movie. Like that's the best part. Easy, hands down.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing with Last Jedi, though. Is like we're like for me, it's sitting there going like, oh, okay, yeah. So this story here, this is stupid here. This is ooh, lightsabers are out again, yay! Oh, look at their spaceship
Well, they-
battles.
No,
Oh,
see,
look at-
yeah, there's other things I like
there's
in there
barely-
too, though.
Yeah, there's like literally like for me, it's all of the Rey, Kylo, and Luke stuff. I think is damn near perfect, and I love it. And it's whenever we cut back to anything else, I'm like, okay, but I don't care about the casino planet and the drama on
Well-
the spaceship is boring.
See, and I'm the opposite. I love all that stuff,
Oh, okay.
and I hate everything.
All right.
Luke,
Well,
Kylo.
okay, so let's talk about this here. Do you guys want to talk about structure? Should we talk about structure? You want to talk about just how it's structured in general? Let's start there, and then let's dig
Well, I
into
think-
characters and stuff.
Structurally, I think overall it's fine. It's just the timeline is very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think it's fine as a
Well, the big thing is like because it's clear that like days are passing when it comes to what's going on with like with Luke and Rey on the planet and all that.
Mhm.
And then whenever we cut back to stuff going on with the ship, it's like it doesn't feel like this is a like days long chase that is happening, because it's like, again, it's space and it's hard to gauge a time frame with all that stuff.
Sure, yep.
And even with like Empire does kind of a similar thing, but at least with Empire you have like them like with the Millennium Falcon going from different locations to help sell that passage of time going on, along with the stuff going on with Yoda and Luke, you know?
As opposed to a slow crawl through space.
Yeah, like the slow speed chase. Like it is like it kind of feels like a weird submarine battle thing. It has more, that stuff felt more like a Star Trek thing than a Star Wars thing.
But
funny
they didn't
enough.
commit to it though.
No, and again, I don't want this to devolve into, well, what they should have done instead was, because like I don't, because I think we all maybe have thoughts on like what they could have done instead. Or
Yeah,
what
I got
they
a couple
should have
ideas.
done. But like, I don't want to just devolve into, oh, if I was writing the movie, then I would have done this thing. Like, because I don't think that's necessarily a constructive conversation. But we can have some fun talking about it, of course. But it's like, to me, that's the biggest thing, is like, I felt the passage of time and things happening with the Luke and Rey and Kylo stuff, because like things would be happening with their story and you actually see time passing because of like night and day and things like that.
Yeah.
But then whenever we cut to like all the stuff with the stuff on the ship felt like it happened in an afternoon.
Well,
And that,
yeah.
and that to me is the biggest issue. Like,
I hear you on that. Like it's kind of like the similar kind of thing for me. Like I felt that this jumping back and forth, and specifically the really slow space chase, really ultimately hurt like the pacing of the film, because it's like every time you went back to the ship and then it's like, oh, we moved another foot. Like that's kind of what it felt like a foot every, you know, like nothing barely happened. It felt like the movie just kept coming to like a dead stop. Because there was these interesting character things happening when you had Luke and Rey and Ben, and then it's like, and back to the ship where nothing intelligent is actually happening right now. Like everything that happens on that ship is ridiculous. The way how Poe acts, the way how like whatever purple hair Laura Dern acts, like just, and then at the end they're like, oh no, I actually like him, like he's a pretty good guy. It's like, this makes no sense. Like this is the most like ridiculous thing. And the casino planet is just like an absurd thing. So for me, it's not necessarily like what was happening, but it just really felt like it kept killing the pace. Like there's things I wanted to see and things that felt like we were moving the movie forward, and the film had a good pace to it. But then as soon as you came back to the ship every time, it just felt like we just kept hitting a wall, or all of a sudden like you're now walking through like knee-high mud. You know, like it was just a trek to actually get through those parts for me. That would be my biggest like complaint about structure or criticism.
You were saying like what would have helped with a lot of that again is like if they were actually having to like kind of go from planet to planet and they were like just ahead of the First Order, and it was like more of a chase in that sense.
Or put like obstacles or something.
Well, because the thing is, they go into hyperspace and they come out, and oh man, the Empires are the
First Order's right there. Yeah.
Oh, how is that a thing? Well, okay, why don't we do that, but add a planet there?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you do that, but then add another thing that they're going to...
Hell, man, like, I know, like, listen, I know it's very Episode 5, but you pretty much already copied the structure from Episode 5, so you might as well throw in an asteroid field. Like, there just needed to be obstacles, because it was just...
some drama.
It was just them in open space. Like, in a straight line. Like, there was no, like, physical obstacles. There was no, interesting visuals with that, right? Like it was just ships in a line slowly driving away from each other. It's like, oh yeah.
So imagine taking that and literally it's like they get to a planet, they're like, okay, we lost them, we can get here. And they start unpacking their stuff, and then next thing you know, Star Destroyer in the sky, and they're like, we gotta evacuate again. What?
That'd be actually like... so funny. Like the whole movie, just the same shit. Like, God damn it!
And then it becomes them trying to figure out, okay, how do they keep finding us? How can we lose them? Why are they tracking
or
us?
like
Well,
even
literally-
using like a series of planets or some as obstacles in between them and the First Order or something like
Like,
Yeah, trying to
like
get away,
slingshot
trying to
or
throw them
something
off.
around something. I don't know. I
Like,
just feel like
and
there
then
need to be more.
maybe
things
they end
happening
up
there.
like going past like a neutral planet that like it starts attacking them, but then it also starts attacking the First Order, and like they end up getting a bit of a lead that way, or like
Because yeah,
and
like
hey-
because that is like the biggest issue as far as like pacing and just how the movie progressed and felt.
Yeah.
Like you had the character development and like the big character things when you're talking about Rey, Luke, and Ben, but or Kylo, I guess, whatever. But then like
We know who
the
we're talking
spaceship
about.
stuff, it's like you didn't need to have more character building things because none of those characters really built to anything or like grew in any way at the end. Like Poe was like all of a sudden now I'm a leader, even though he made all pretty much the wrong decisions anyway through the movie. But
Well, and-
like that's
even
where you
then, like-
needed to have that more like adrenaline stuff. Like you needed to have that little bit more of energy to it. Like if you kind
Even-
of have the slow character stuff over here, there needed to be a balance, I think.
Even with Poe and his character didn't make any sense throughout because
No.
it was super inconsistent. Same thing with Leia's character. It was really weird where it's like, no, we can't sacrifice people to destroy the ships, and it's like that's literally what you did in the last like 4 movies
Mhm.
was send people to their death to destroy the super weapons that were trying to kill you guys. This is what do you mean we can't do that now?
well, and like
And
the-
it's
it is like there is a bit of whiplash there, but like there is honestly like again, I know I'm the one who brought up like what I would have done, like, and I don't really want to talk about that.
Process is like, now I'm gonna tell you what I would have
But now, but one of the things that would have like fixed a lot of the issues with the inner conflict of the characters is if there was actually a spy on the ship.
and you keep Finn on the ship for that.
Yes.
Because everyone's going to suspect the former stormtrooper as being the spy.
Oh yeah, he's leaking them information, or
So
he's
you-
got a tracking device on him, or something like.
So
Oh yeah, that would have been
you're-
interesting.
Maybe your entire movie is a slow-paced drama.
Yeah, because
Maybe
again,
that would be interesting for a Star Wars movie to be entirely that. That would be a different kind of take on things.
on like kind of a fun inverse, because like the J.J. Abrams movies are heavily influenced by like Star Trek's or Star Wars style action. What does Star Wars look like if it takes kind of more of a Star Trek approach to telling a story? Because like Star Trek has done those kind of stories many times and successfully kept them interesting. So like seeing that in a Star Wars setting could be good, but again, you need that extra bit of like again, Laura Dern not wanting to tell Poe things makes a lot more sense if she's not sure who she can trust.
Whereas they never address that. They're just like, no, you're a hot
You
shot
blew
flyboy."
up other people. We're not telling you jack. And then the like and it just
doesn't
and the
make
problem
any
like
sense.
because it just escalated the problem. Like it didn't solve any problems.
Yeah,
it was
Poe
like
wouldn't have done-
fictional. It was fictional conflict. Like it was made up conflict. Like just to create
Mm-hmm.
conflict in the film. That was the only reason why she wouldn't even share even the slightest bit of information. They're going
Yes.
to create an old abandoned rebel base. Why would that be hush hush? Why would
It's-
that be a secret?
It's also weird that I'm just saying they should have added her to the first film. They should. This is where the plan would have helped.
Mm-hmm.
Where did she come from? If she's such a high-ranking officer, why wasn't she at the plan to destroy Starkiller Base?
Yeah.
They never addressed that either. But you know how they could have fixed that if they were going from planet to planet and picking up other resistance fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so many things they could have done, but it was rushed. It wasn't thought out. It wasn't planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem at the end of the day. It was just kind of a
Yeah, no.
they gave him carte blanche to do what he wanted. And that's fine if it was the first film, but because it's the middle chapter, you need guidance. You need
Well, and-
direction.
Well, and it really, you could tell the stuff, like the story that he really wanted to tell was the stuff with Rey, Luke, and Kylo.
Yeah.
And he kind of just had to figure out what to do with the other characters in that point in time. It's like, well, we can't do too much with them
Which
because
is frustrating though, because
Well,
that's not if you're gonna
Like
Oh,
so
100%,
yeah,
yeah.
so many of the characters were just absolutely wasted in that film. At the end of the day, like even when you look at Finn's arc going to Canto Bight and stuff, it's like this is painful. Like this is
Well,
not
like-
good. And their main antagonists there were like yeah, we parked on the beach illegally. Like, really?
Like,
Like, that's
what?
the best conflict we come up with. I'll tell you one thing that would have solved that and would have made the film ultimately more interesting is have Captain Phasma be able to track, like, she tracks them leaving the ship. She grabs a bunch of stormtroopers, goes after them. Because A, she's already looking for like payback after Starkiller Base. Two, it would have
Well,
given
like-
Captain Phasma some actual goddamn screen time for how
Yes.
badass she is.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been way more interesting than security guards trying to arrest them for parking on the beach.
One,
Yes.
Like,
Well,
and
you
it
add a
continues that
third-
conflict between the Resistance and the First Order, like outside on a different planet, not just in this slow space battle. Because she showed up for 10 seconds, got her ass whooped, and then fell into a pin, died. If she actually would have been in that movie pursuing Finn, it would have been just way more interesting. And then,
Well, and if
and
you-
when they get back to the ship, the rest of the things can continue the same after that, right? It just has more context and feels more impactful.
Well, I still think having Maz in the film also would have been a big help too.
Yeah.
I think just having her be in that one cameo was kind of a waste.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time we saw her in the next film, we're like, well, we don't really care because you kind of just disappear for.
And she was not interesting in that film either. Like, just,
Exactly, but in the first film, there was intrigue. There's
Yeah.
how did you get the lightsaber? Well, that's a story for another time.
Not.
Good question. Good question for a story we'll tell in a comic, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
It's like that literally, that could have been like literally the crux of the third movie if they really wanted to do anything with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's fine. It's all fine. But no,
Sorry, go ahead, but
no, it's like it really does feel like there are little things here or there that like, literally just it doesn't take a whole lot to make that plot work. It just little adjustments here or there. I would say like you don't even need the casino planet. Literally, the codebreaker person could have been the brig of one of their ships, and they could have had to like literally break someone out of their own brig. That could have been interesting.
yeah, sure.
Just little things here or there, like it like would have made that stuff better. But like it just it's what we got. It's what we got to work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
And like structure, like I know we were like, you know, we obviously all very much dislike that whole aspect when you're talking about the structure and how the film was thought out and conceptually created. But let's kind of, you know, move over maybe more of the positive side of that. And that was the Luke, the Rey, the Kylo Ren aspect, everything that was going on the island with the little porgs and such like that. And I think that brings us great next into our kind of next topic that we can talk about here too, and that's character. Like in what they decided to do and what choices he made with those characters. Because I know that's going to be maybe a little, you know, debatable too. I don't know if we'll all agree on like character choices there, but
Well, I think
yeah, we'll start with Ethan.
I think the people who complain about, well, that's not Luke that I knew, is kind of like that's a kind of a shallow complaint because it's like, guys, we knew Luke for 2 films, and then a bunch of things that were never canon.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And while it would be really cool to see that stuff, we did eventually get to see the awesome Luke.
Yeah,
they gave you that in
Mandalorian.
the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
and it was
Well,
and it was
but-
friggin' awesome.
That was
But
awesome. Yeah.
Even at the end of Last Jedi, yes, it was technically a force projection, but
But
that
he
the
was-
moment where he shows up and it's like fire everything,
Yeah.
more.
And he just
That was
like
amazing.
wipes off the dust.
I loved it.
Yeah,
like,
that
I
was
like,
pretty awesome.
that's- Like
only
he was being the legend of Luke Skywalker at that point. You
and
know?
the only complaints that I have really with the characterization stuff is just that they made him funny for some reason at the beginning. Like they tried to make it funny as opposed to tragic that like Luke has fallen to this
I
thing.
think that's another challenge of the film overall is just its comedy, like its sense of like where it should have comedy and where it
Yeah.
should be serious, and getting those
like-
things
they
mixed
had
up
some
a
really
bit.
they had some really strong comedy beats.
Yep.
Mhm.
Like specifically where it's like Hux where he's just like the supreme leader is dead and then
Long live the
Yeah,
And then Kylo Ren just starts
him.
choking him out. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Or like even again at the same scene where they're firing at Luke and it's like, "Do you think you got him?" or something like whatever that line.
Caught him.
That line made sense. That worked. There are moments where it works, but then there's a lot of moments
Like general hugs.
Yeah, I'm looking for general hugs.
Yeah, at the beginning,
I'll hold.
or like Luke throwing the lightsaber over his shoulder thing, like that was.
Because I think again, him rejecting the lightsaber, I'm all for. I like.
But
that.
how they, but to make it a comedy,
how they did it, it
and again, yeah, like we've had a disagreement on this particular thing. Like I to me took that more. That was more like a shocking thing to me than a comedy beat. I was like, whoa, what? Like,
but that's the thing is they did it in a way to shock you. They could still do it in a way to shock you without also making it comical.
No,
because
like
the
it
fact
was.
that,
It
that
was.
fact that
Go ahead.
he was looking straight forward, kind of at the camera, and he just did this. He just did it, and that was that's a comedy moment.
And
That's
then they did the
100%
wide
comedy.
shot of him just kind of like brum, 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 down the hill, right? Like
Okay,
that.
well, he
That whole
wasn't-
design was designed to be comedic.
it wasn't a Vongville act. It was like,
What?
No, watch.
Vaudeville?
Okay,
Vaudeville.
vaudeville. You know what I mean.
listen.
Vongville?
Watch.
Vince Vongville.
He throws the lightsaber and he
Jake-
just
It's Vince
bum,
Vaughnville.
bum, 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 down the hill. Like he doesn't even normally walk like that.
Yeah, dude.
You
Well,
only
yeah,
walk like that
suddenly-
when it's supposed to be funny.
Suddenly, John Williams brings
And
in a
then-
trumpet. Boom, 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 boom.
Why would it be a trumpet? Or trombone?
Trombone.
Gosh, you're failing.
I-
You're flustering, bud.
Shut up.
You're floundering.
I have
Foster's falling
important-
apart here.
I have important notes. Damn it.
But also,
Um,
like the thing for me though, after that, I'm on my
You
thought.
go ahead. Speak your piece.
After that, they immediately cut to him drinking the green milk grossly thing.
They did not immediately cut.
That's the next moment.
No, he's in his house, and then Chewie breaks the door down.
No, that's
Yeah,
after
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
green
he's
milk
like,
comes
"Here's-"
afterwards. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
the green milk is
when-
because she's trying to get his attention, and he's like, "No, I'm having nothing to do with you."
No, that's
is it the
after
day
she
after?
follows him when he goes on his
Yeah.
daily routine.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's like he goes to his house, locks himself in, and then Chewie busts the door down, which is also a great moment, and I love.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
I like
and
that
Chewie
moment,
just
but
bursts in, be like, "Luke, what the shit, man?"
I really wish they would have like taken the time to actually show Luke grieve his friend, as opposed to like, "Where's Han?" and then we cut away. And it's like I would love to have seen that like
When you do get a little bit like after having that conversation when he goes back in his house, you do get a moment of it because it cuts between him and Leia. But you're right, there should have been more of a moment in that point. But I do love that like them like cutting from like where's Han and immediately cutting to Kylo. I did like that transition.
it's fine, but again, like I'd like it like let's show this guy mourn for his best friend for years. Right? Who both of them could have made an effort to make things right with each other, but they didn't before it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's a takeaway. That's a drawback. Again, it's
Well, and I think part of that just comes from the fact that like we never got a scene with all three of them together. And like I will agree that is a detriment overall. But I still think that moment works, but I do agree with you that it would have been nice to have a bit more following that up. you
yeah.
know?
Like I'm not saying exactly in that same scene. You could have said where's Han and then cut to this thing and then come back to him to show him like he's really not okay with this. Or again, why would the death of your best friend at this? Why wouldn't that fire you up to like actually help people and like get involved?
Or would it just make you feel more that it's hopeless?
And they didn't clarify.
Maybe that's what I got.
didn't really. But the thing is, they didn't really clarify that. They didn't really.
I mean I got that. But it was, that's just me personally. I get it.
Yeah, I hate it when you say stuff like that because
It was
you
just
frame it like, well, I understood it, therefore I'm smart and you're dumb, and you do this all the time. In
but
reality,
also-
Well, I got it.
listen,
It's not my
you're-
fault, you're a dumbass.
what in reality,
yeah. It shouldn't.
in reality, for putting people down for not liking something, and and masking it as them not understanding.
I don't-
You're the real dumbass.
I don't think that's true. Also, like, I do have one note about, like, with the lightsaber thing.
Yeah.
Because to me, his reaction makes perfect sense, because the last time he saw that lightsaber, he got his fucking hand chopped off. So, you know what? I wouldn't have too many sentimental memories about it either.
I'm again.
So-
We're not arguing
It's
him
not
tossing
necessarily
it away.
him throwing it. It's just
It's
how they set it
they
up.
did it.
It's how
Yeah.
they
They
set
framed
it
the
up.
shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
It's not a story problem. It is a cinematic problem.
Because
Oh, okay.
here's
I
the
can-
thing. Here's the thing when you're talking about comedic moments and serious moments. Because sometimes they are interchangeable. Sometimes you can put a comedic moment where there should be a serious moment and it works. But that comedic payoff has to be bigger than what the dramatic payoff would have been. Or else
Exactly.
you feel cheated. And in that moment, the comedic payoff was not better.
okay.
And
Yeah,
it could have
could've-
been. Maybe if they would have done it a different way, I don't know. Maybe it could have been a better payoff. But how they did it there, I felt a little cheated on that because I think the dramatic payoff would have been more important. Seeing as also that's where the last movie ended, and we waited 2 years to get to that point.
Yep.
It wasn't just the movie itself; it's the fact we waited 2 years, and then you get there and he just tosses his over his shoulder and nonchalantly walks off. It was just kind of like, okay.
Imagine if he tosses it over his shoulder and it like knocks a porg out.
Dude, that'd be see, that would have been pretty funny.
There you go.
Actually,
There's-
might have been-
seeing to me-
that might have been pretty good. I don't know.
See, to me, that would be going too far, in my opinion.
And maybe it would, and that's my point of saying
Having said that,
the dramatic way probably would have been more.
It would have been more
fulfilling.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Having said that, I've seen a lot of fan edits of like when that porg is like
Oh yeah, and
like, pressing down the button and
stabs
then he actually
himself with a
activates it and
lightsaber.
stabs
Yeah.
another porg.
Because that was the original. That was the original scene. That's what they wanted to do originally.
And Disney was
Disney
like, that
no, no,
you
no, no,
can't-
no.
we could have Chewie eating one and have his friend sadly looking up
Yeah,
at him.
exactly. Yeah.
But and after that day, Chewie became a vegan.
But it's like it's one of those.
Get out of
things
here!
like,
I'm eating my porg. I'm starving.
It's he could have tossed it to the side. He could have handed it back to her. I'm personally a fan of they do a callback to episode 5 and he pretends that like because she doesn't know what Luke looks like, and he's just like no, like I'm like who are you looking for? Why are you looking like I'm not Luke? What are you talking about? And then Chewie shows up, and that's when like it's revealed to her because we all fucking know, we all know because we all know that
That's Luke.
that's Luke, but it's just
Sure.
Rey being like, no, like I'm pretty sure you're Luke, and the entire time he's like,
There's no one else on this island, dude.
and the entire time he's like, no, I'm not Luke, and then Chewie shows up, and then it's like
Oh,
he
God
can't
damn it.
lie about it. He's like, you know me.
Speaking of like scenes where like characters reconnect, the scene where he goes onto the Falcon and like R2 reactivates and all that, that was
a good scene.
that was an awesome
Yep.
moment. Once again,
That was really
acknowledging-
good. Yeah.
Once again acknowledging R2D2's potty mouth. Hey, watch the language.
What about like Luke in general? Like, what about his character arc? What did you overall think of that? Or like necessarily because you brought it up earlier, Ethan. Like a lot of people are like, that's not my Luke Skywalker that I know or whatever. But what did you think? What did you guys think personally of his arc from beginning kind of to end and how that all played out? Was that a positive for you? Negative?
I liked it. I don't know if he like. So I'm of two minds of it because I did like his arc. I liked the idea of him slowly coming around. The confusing thing was the whole like. The confusing thing is what caused Kylo and him to drift apart. That was always a little like. It's never 100% clear, and they try and frame it that way where it's like, well, there's no clear answer as to who was in the wrong.
Well, it's, from a certain point of view.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly the angle they went at. Yeah.
And that's fair, but they did it in a way that was kind of convoluted. I think the flashbacks didn't help. I think you could have just told the story with exposition rather than showing the flashbacks with the exposition.
Seeing, like...
Because I think you can tell a compelling story with an actor's face a lot of times more so than with cutting back.
I thought the cutbacks are okay.
Yeah, like, to me, it's like, that's literally... to me, it would border on, pardon me, it would border on telling, not showing, and to me, I'd rather see it.
But at the same time, like, you could have given Mark Hamill this really amazing, and we know Adam Driver could do it, and you'd give Mark Hamill this awesome opportunity for him to just deliver this amazing monologue of how he failed Ben, and get to see that rather than like you get to see the emotion in his face.
Sure,
You get to see the tragedy that befell Luke, as opposed to again relying on flashbacks to make it clear.
Sure, okay, yeah.
And
I might
like,
be
the
sold
same
on
thing-
that now.
And then you also like imagine that shot, just like a slow pushing on Mark Hamill. It's the Indianapolis speech from Jaws, but with Mark Hamill talking about how he failed his nephew.
I guess so, but then like you do lose the different, like, for each one, the different, like, from what it was from Luke's perspective, from Kyle's perspective, and then like the actual truth. Like, and I like seeing those different versions where, like, from Kyle's perspective, he just saw his uncle as this maniac who was about to cut him down with a lightsaber, and with Luke, it was like this darker thing that he was seeing. Like, I liked seeing the differences in
But
perspective there.
You can also get that across. You can also get that across again with Adam Driver's performance, him delivering the same kind of thing, and you have two shots that mirror each other and parallel each other, where both of them have this epic monologue about how they were scarred and damaged by the other person or by these decisions, and you get to let the actors act.
Yeah, like, to me, you
And
got
then if you want to, for the third, when you're actually revealing what happened, then you show a flashback. 3 flashbacks were a little much, in my opinion.
like, for me at least, it worked.
I will
can
say
agree
I
with
didn't have a
you.
problem with it while I was watching the movie. But I don't mind your I don't mind your idea, Ethan. I kind of like it actually.
Yeah, like, it's not.
It's called
like,
it's called art and cinema. Crossroad. Maybe you should try
Oh,
it.
Ethan's like,
okay.
I get it. It's not my fault that you don't
Yeah.
get it, process.
Yeah, well, I understand it.
No, you want to change it. You don't understand it.
No, I want to change it for the better because I understand good
Well,
cinema.
Well, I don't like just getting expedition.
Expedition?
I have good,
Prosser lost the argument because he
I
can't.
have I have good points. God damn it. I don't like
Negative
just getting
points for Prosser.
I don't like getting exposition dumps in my films. I would rather see.
So what
is
you're saying
happening.
is you want to see a flashback of the Indianapolis in Jaws?
Well,
You'd rather
no.
see that rather than that monologue from Quint?
Oh,
I
no,
think
I'm going to commit to this. Yes, I would love to. See,
I think
I
there's
think-
there's
Made
difference
that movie
between
with Nicolas
just
Cage.
they did.
there's difference between just exposition and dramatic monologues recounting an event, right? Like it's all depending how you frame it,
It's
Oh,
how
I'm
it's
100%.
performed, and what its purpose is. Like, because it isn't it because in what Ethan's explaining, it's not just explaining the past. It's explaining how they're feeling now and how they got to it now and seeing their face and their emotions still now. So it is still very in the now. Something
What
like
do you-
like if they're just like, oh yeah, man, I was doing lightsaber training once, so it was pretty cool. Like that's just that's exposition.
good
Not as
example.
good.
Suicide Squad. And the amount of times they remind you, just remember, we're the bad guys. Even though that's a short line, that's an exposition dump. But a better example is, and this is Katana. You want to be careful of her swords. They'll steal your soul. That's an exposition dump.
She's got my back.
Yeah, like that's an
This is
exposition
Captain
dump.
Phasma. She's got my back. I was advised not being killed by her. No,
So-
let's be clear here. Nothing in The Last Jedi is as bad as the first Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah,
Let's-
that's true.
Let's be clear here. That's a discussion for a different time. Anyway,
Yeah, like it's so like that's where to me I think again you could have some really cool acting moments and some really cool like good emotional monologue, you know?
Yeah.
well, to me, like in the movie, we got both. It was kind of a mix because they would cut back to the actors talking. You would
No, it was
see
a
the look of their...
voiceover.
No, like they would cut back to them.
The whole
You
flashback
see-
wasn't. No, it was one.
They
solid...
100% cut back between them. I do remember that.
No, it's a flashback, and they cut back to them after the fact.
Don't look at me. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure they do. I could be wrong
I will
about
go
Ross
that.
to-
is like,
I'll
I'm gonna
go
make up some facts here to prove my point.
I'm not making anything up.
I'm just kidding.
Here's the
I'm
thing.
just kidding.
This
Okay,
is-
let's
this
let's
is the
get
difference
let's.
between Matt. This is the difference between me and Prosser, because he'd be like, "I'm pretty sure this is it," and then this is where we know if we'll call his bluff or not. I'll put on Last Jedi right now, and I'll go and check out that scene.
He just laughs.
Go ahead.
He looks nervous. He looks nervous. You look
Yeah,
nervous,
you would
man.
Pretty nervous.
You're all
what
you're all
happens.
You look
squirrely
like
over
you're kind
there.
of sweating.
Just getting squirrely.
See what happens.
But besides like the
Ethan's looking it up on his phone.
besides like the
Again, I-
flashbacks and stuff, like I think Luke Skywalker, for me, I still think he was my favorite part of the movie. Like hands down, I thought
love
he was
Mar-
the
like-
most interesting character. I thought he had the most kind of developed arc.
100%.
And he had the most history to him, right? Like a lot of people like, oh, that's not the Luke I wanted to see. But it makes sense after everything he went through. It makes sense for him to be that way. Because it was a human reaction. Like it's just a human reaction, right? Like he was
Yeah.
so grounded, so down to earth. And that was the whole point, right? Luke Skywalker, the legend, versus Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker, the man.
Like when you look at it, it's
Ethan's
it
just
is it. You can't see this, ladies and gentlemen, but Ethan has pulled up scenes from The Last Jedi on his phone to try and prove me wrong. How sad!
I was
How
right.
sad!
And I was right.
An
They don't-
individual.
do
Did
they
you watch
go
all
back?
3 of them, Ethan?
Yes.
Yeah, I skimmed over them.
Yeah.
No, I
He skimmed through them and clearly got all the information he needed
Yeah,
by
because
skimming. Doesn't seem.
I'm confident that I'm right here.
Oh,
I feel
isn't
like
that
I have to look it
interesting?
up and be the neutral
Isn't
judge
that interesting? So am I, and I didn't have to look it up. That's confidence. So, anyways,
No, that's arrogance.
I
It leads to
Weren't
the
you
dark
wrong?
and your
side.
and your faith in your friends is yours.
Oh man, I'm so
Anyway,
confused.
Anyways, but no, I loved that, like, because again, it's literally, it is kind of a meta commentary on itself, where like people's expectations of Luke is that he's gonna come in and he's gonna take that lightsaber. He's like, all right, let's go to war, everybody. I'm Luke Skywalker, and smiles and. Like,
Yeah.
he's just gonna wreck everybody because, like, and again,
But then
there
he
is
does.
yeah, he does do that at the end, like when but like where we find him in the story, and him running away and all that. It's like if he immediately just picked up the fight as soon as Rey showed up with the lightsaber, it'd be like, well, then why'd he run away in the first place? You know, like to me, you need that initial like him not wanting to get involved again and him not wanting to be a part of it. So you can have that payoff of him coming back and being the
For sure.
legend
Yeah.
that everybody knows him as, you know?
And coming back around, yeah. For sure. And I agree with you. Like going into that movie, I just want to see that green lightsaber light up. That's my only disappointment. We didn't get a good like green lightsaber scene minus the flashbacks. So
Yes,
thank
but
you to the
also-
flashbacks. Why was there
but
never even
also-
green lightsabers in that whole damn trilogy? Like, let go of that blue one. Anyway,
The blue,
Anyway,
the
just
blue
wait.
lightsaber though, dude.
just wait. I just want. Going into this, just wait. Going into this, I want to see Luke turn on that green lightsaber and just wreck some fools. And we did get that in Mandalorian though, which is good. But I do actually like the direction they did take it. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I do like the direction. It was
Well,
my
man, the
favorite
blue-
part, really, when I think about that movie.
The
Easy,
blue lightsaber
easy.
thing made me so angry at myself for not paying attention better, because we literally watched it get wrecked. We watched it get destroyed
Like,
20
wait-
minutes earlier, and Luke shows up with it. And at no point during that fight, it was on the drive home. It was on the drive home
That
halfway
you're like,
through.
wait a
That I'm
minute.
like, wait a second. How did he have that? And I pointed out to him and our other friend, and both of them were like, holy crap, yeah. Why didn't we pick up on that?
Yeah.
Because he was all like, oh yeah, I could tell it was a projection because the sand, you didn't see the salt moving under his
Yeah.
feet.
It wasn't,
And,
it
like,
wasn't the damn lightsaber.
It wasn't the lightsaber, but like that to me is good storytelling
Yeah.
because it's a detail that like it's important, but it's one of those things that you wouldn't necessarily think about right away.
And it's right in
And
your
it's-
face, and you don't even see it.
It's
Well,
right in
like-
Kylo's face.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kylo should have known.
Kylo is so
Yeah,
blinded
yeah.
by his rage of wanting to murder Luke that he doesn't even fucking
He doesn't
notice
even
that
pick
he's
up on
holding
that,
that
yeah.
lightsaber.
No, he was just that intense, and that is good storytelling to me.
Yeah.
And like, speaking of Kylo, once again, Adam Driver in this movie is just being the MVP of this whole damn trilogy. Because, like,
Over
all
all
of
three,
his-
yeah.
yeah, all of his stuff, with the exception of Ben Swallow, which is just hilarious, is
I do leave Ben Swallow alone.
it's just why are his pants so high? Why?
He's self-conscious about his love handles.
No, he's got those. Like, that's why he was able to get shot in the side with a bowcaster and still be walking around. His
Pants
abs
were
are
just way
massive.
too high.
Yes, he's got that Mandalorian iron weave in his pants. But no, he's fantastic in it, and like
Good soup.
and good soup. But no, like, all the stuff with him is really good and compelling, and I loved the little moments. Like, again, like like everything that is done in this movie with his character developing forward is immediately just crushed by Rise of
Yeah,
Skywalker.
like, don't even talk about that right now. I will go on a rant about it, so we'll save
well,
that for 9, because I'm,
You know,
like,
think-
that is one of the most
can
frustrating
I,
things about
can
that
I be a
movie to
part
me.
of that too?
Yeah, for sure,
Because
man.
it's-
Because I want to rip
think
it. I got
if you're
stripped
on-
to
if-
rip with that one.
If you're on prep, we'll be on the same schedule.
No, exactly. But
Um,
like,
But I think, like, to kind of piggyback off that, I don't mind the conversations that they have going back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
but I would have liked it more if it was closer to, like, how, in the end of episode 5, when Vader and after the confrontation and stuff like that, and Vader and Luke are seeing each other, but not really, and there's that weird, like,
what's the
it's
mental
a
connection?
soft, but it's like a
Which-
soft dissolve.
Which they do reference with Kylo and Leia, which I loved.
Yes, and I wish they would have kept that up with Rey and Kylo. But again, like, it kind of. Again, I don't want to talk about Rise, but like, if they made the diode thing more clear earlier on, then it also wouldn't have come out of nowhere
Well, and like,
in the 9th movie. But like,
Well, and it's
and
like,
it would have made
there's,
sense why
like-
their connection was
Yeah.
like that.
it's like there's like the bare minimum of setup where Snoke says like the darkness rises and the light to meet it. There's like a minuscule bit that's like
minuscule.
that they extrapolate.
What was that?
What minuscule?
It's like Monty
It was
Python
like
level
French,
voice.
man. Misky.
The minuscule.
It is how you say it, the
Minuscule.
cinema minuscule.
It reminded me of like a hoity-toity Monty Python character.
I would like a
An
minuscule.
absolute minuscule amount.
I would like to buy some cheese.
Yes, go to the right place, sir.
But anyways,
Certified fresh.
certified fresh.
Round tomatoes.
Yes. But no, like, because to me, like, I actually really liked the conversations there, and I liked that it was a different thing than we had seen before. And I also like the reveal that, like, Snoke was the one connecting them, which again makes the whole them using that in Rise of Skywalker also not make sense. But we're not talking about Rise of Skywalker right now. But I like the fact that, like, there was this connection, and again, it also helps set up the end of the movie where it's like, there's no way you're doing this, it would kill you, and then, like, that's why Luke ultimately dies. He's able to maintain it for a long ass amount of time.
Yeah.
And that's what ultimately kills him. But like, they do set up early on the Force projection thing, and
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Like,
Well,
seeing the
it's great.
connection of those two
And,
characters.
and that's, again, like, great storytelling, great formation, because you, like, lead into it. But again, when you see Luke, you're not thinking force projection. Even though they told you it's a thing or that can
yeah.
happen, you're not
Well,
like, oh,
everyone
that's
was-
definitely a force projection. Like, you just, you don't think about it.
Oh yeah, dude took a shower, got a haircut, and he went on his merry way. All right, cool.
Well, that's what you think, right? It's like, if you're going back into battle, why not, like, not look like a homeless person?
Well, and especially like because you see him interact, you see him give the dice to Leia, and you see all that stuff. So like, you were never at any point thinking, oh, he's not actually there.
Yeah.
And it's honestly kind of brilliant in that respect.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, and I hate the argument where people are like, well, why didn't he just go there, his X-wing and just go over there? And
Time.
yeah, like first of all, time. Second of all, like obviously time is the main one, but really, like to me, what I took it as is ultimately he was there to be the legend and like set up that like whole inspiration to the galaxy. And as badass as Luke Skywalker is near the end of his life, I don't know if he would have been able to take all of those blaster shots from the First Order ships. Like,
Yeah.
like he'd be really banking on like Kylo just wanting to do a one-on-one match at that point, because they would have just obliterated him. Maybe he blocks 1 or 2 shots, maybe, and holds off a couple, but then he gets obliterated by all the other ATSTs.
It was a lot. It's a lot of firepower. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas as a force projection, it's guaranteed it's not going to affect him at all, which like you guarantee that you have that inspirational moment of him taking all those shots, you know?
Yeah.
And also, the real cheap answer is the Force told him not to.
No, exactly.
He looked into the future. He saw what was going to happen. He saw the possibilities.
Well, and also, the thing I love about the ending, like the conflict between him and Kylo, like that final like fight, is first of all, like it's shot absolutely gorgeously. Like it is shot like very heavy, like almost anime, like
And that's-
Kurosawa inspired.
I would agree. I would go even further. Like all the visuals on Crate, where I thought were really well done. Like it was just like a
100%.
very like for being like a salt planet. That red dust did a lot. Like I was like,
yeah, and,
"Oh,
like-
that
Well,
looked
that's-
really good."
I'm of the opinion that there's a happy medium of where they hit, because I think they went too stylized and not enough Star Wars, and I think they could have done a little bit more Star Wars, a little bit more, because like
I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty solid.
right?
specifically though with
It's
the
awesome.
like specifically look to the fight as an example. Mandalorian has that amazing fight between Ahsoka and
Oh yeah, that warlord
Grand
lady or
Marshal
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that was very, very heavily,
Very Kurosawa.
very much, but it still felt like Star Wars.
Mhm.
It still had that because it wasn't as stylized. It was stylized, but it wasn't like heavy-handed stylized. Whereas this one, as Prosper said, it was very much more like it's something straight up an anime, something very.
Yeah, which I dug. Which
And I did too, but I think pulling it back a little bit.
I didn't get anime
wouldn't be-
feels from it at all. Like, and maybe because I don't watch a ton of anime. Like
Yeah,
we
that's
used
why,
to
man.
when I was
that is
young.
not-
exactly
Used to,
Because
like-
you're not a nerd, man.
you're not a big ass weeb like me.
Man, I got a kid. I got to watch anime all day. Damn it! I got to pick and choose what kind of nerdism I get to, be a part of.
Fair enough.
I never
Choose
got
at the age of
anime
16.
vibes off it at all. I really liked it. I thought it was just really beautiful.
Oh no, I still liked it too. I just
And-
like overall cinematography wise for this film. That's kind of my big note.
It was
No,
a
that's
little
just, like-
extra. It was just a bit
It was a
extra
little
for
too-
you.
It was either too extra or too standard, and there wasn't enough of like the middle ground of like Star Wars.
Sure.
Because
No,
like,
Okay.
That's fair.
because a lot of the character stuff was just over the shoulder, cut back and forth, as opposed to like, okay, but let's make it like Star Wars. Let's
Yeah.
look at classic cinematography, and that again, that comes down to the director.
Yeah.
And there's
Well,
nothing wrong.
like
with
Ryan
that.
Johnson, a lot of his stuff is like pretty damn stylized as well.
Whereas
so.
if you look at J.J. Abrams, it's very traditional '80s cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Force Awakens definitely feels like Star Wars, and like Last Jedi, for better or worse, feels more like stylized like a Ryan Johnson film. But like there's that whole thing. Like it's shot gorgeously. And then the second thing is like in that fight, like Luke is 100% like he is fighting passively, like he embraces the whole like the Jedi like never attacks in anger thing, and like he's literally just walking circles around him and like being super zen, and like that felt to me like kind of that true Jedi essence of like literally never takes a swing at the kid at all.
yeah,
and is
no.
still
just
and is
avoids
still
him.
wrecking him.
Just,
which
I agree. And
then-
like Kylo Ren's rage at the end, like that's honestly between episode 7 and 8, he's like his character arc between those two films is so good. It's so good. Like he has to deal with so much heavy stuff, like killing his father, and then at the beginning of that film, like he's debating to kill his mom. Like there's hesitation, right? He's
Yeah.
still not sure. He's still wrecked. But by the time
But
he
then
gets
he
to the
does, though.
end, he's like, kill them all. I don't care. Like it's not one of those things where he like ends up going back to the light. He just fully embraces the dark. Like he's all in by the end. And he knows his mom's in there and he tells them, kill them all. Like it's fucking awesome.
When I love his I love his arc because like again, near the beginning, like he is dressed down by Snoke for like being everything that like everyone criticized the first movie of him being like, oh, he's just like an angry kid, he's a Vader fanboy, all these things. And like he's dressed down with it to the point like again he smashes his helmet and he's like, I'm friggin' he's pissed off and he gets to his ship and he's gonna go do that thing. And like the whole time he's like we're gonna tear it all down, destroy the past, all that stuff. But then you get to the throne room scene, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Like I loved all that stuff. I loved the fight with him and Rey. I loved like him like basically using like Snoke like thinking he's got the kid figured out and like his mental state and all that to like trick him with the lightsaber. Like, and also like briefly, let's talk about like Snoke getting killed. I actually was fine with it.
Yeah, I was fine with it too.
I know a lot of people were really upset because they're like, God, Snoke amounted to nothing. It's like, and like this is more of an outside of the movie thing, but like by the time I heard like the 100th like who is Snoke theory, I just didn't give a shit about who Snoke was anymore. And I was perfectly fine with him just getting murdered because again, it completely makes it different from the last trilogy and like the guy you think is the big bad gets like knocked off.
I still would like to know who he was, and like we found.
Well, you found out, and it was incredibly disappointing.
But that's the thing.
Jar
is, like,
full of Snokes.
Like, if there would have just been like, just even a thing where it's like he was like one of Palpatine's acolytes who just like was his follower or something like that. That would have been sufficient enough. That's all I would have need to have known.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's basically my only complaint is like I would have liked an answer of who he was.
To be fair, too. To be fair, like in the original trilogy, when Palpatine shows up, you don't know sweet tweet about him.
Yeah, you don't
right?
know
Because there was no prequels. There wasn't a whole bunch of extended stuff. No one knew sweet tweet about the Emperor, but he was still amazing.
Yeah, it's still good, and I still think
backstory
Andy Serkis
can always be filled in after.
Yeah, and honestly, like, and I still think Andy Serkis is giving like a solid performance as Snoke.
Yeah, I
enjoyed him.
Yeah,
but it's like everyone's like, "Oh, could you Snoke him out to nothing?" It's like honestly, I think it's fine.
Well, again, after it, like you said, after the billionth, like
I just
Jar Jar Binks is actually Snoke.
like after I enjoy that the movie's just like I don't give two shits about your Snoke theory. He's fucking dead.
I stand by my Snoke theory. I still think is the greatest, where it's like Leia is actually pretending to be Snoke the whole time, and she's actually like manipulating her son.
Both sides.
Yeah, like could you imagine like, and how many people would just lose their mind over that and just be so angry?
That would be something.
Leia can't be like that. That's not my princess. Oh,
but then, so like he kills Snoke, and after the big fight and everything, and you're like, oh well, you know, clearly like him and Rey have a thing. They're probably gonna go off and try and start a new thing, or maybe Kylo's gonna turn to their light and all that stuff. And the second he sees the throne and is like, oh, I'm the most powerful being on this ship now. I'm just gonna take the throne. Hey, Rey, we should take the throne. And Rey's like, oh, God damn it. That's, what are you doing? And just like, come on, let's do it. It's like, I loved that. I loved that, like, ultimately, like, he talked a big game about, like, destroying the past and, like, we have to be something different. But the second that carrot is dangled in front of him, he's like, no, you know what? I'm gonna make it better. I'm gonna be the emperor now. It's
well, I think that was I didn't really take it that way. Because I think the destroy the past stuff came after that moment, did it not? Like when he's like, we'll burn it all down together. Like that's when he was trying to convince her to join him, right?
Well, that was like,
I think that was his intention a lot of the time, right? Like I don't think Ben ultimately was ever really intending to go light side. Like both of them had their ulterior motives in those discussions and where they wanted the other person to go. But they're just, too, solid on their own sides. I don't think it was necessarily that the throne was empty, that he was like, oh, I'm going to be in charge now. I think that was
Why
just
else would he have killed?
part of it. Yeah. I think that was part of it. That was my own opinion. And when he says, like, let's get rid of the past, he just means, like, kill Luke, kill Snoke. Like, no more Sith, no more
It's
whatever. Let's do the same shit, but call it different things and make it our own.
Dude, it's every millennial's point of view on how they're going to run the world differently and better than the generation before.
Which again,
it's our generation of like, no, but we'll do it differently and we'll do it better, but it's going to be the same stuff.
But the second you're in the position to be in that seat of power, you just perpetuate that same idea.
And he wanted Rey there to, like, so that there wouldn't be any conflict between him, like no other power against him, right? It would just be them, and the war would be over, because it's like, y'all gonna lose now.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
And that was her plan too, right? Like, no Ben on their side. That's like, no way
we win.
They win. But it didn't happen for either of them.
Yeah, and like again, the lightsaber splitting, I thought that was perfectly fine too. It's like, okay, cool.
We're finally gonna get a new lightsaber.
It needed to. I was like, yes.
I was like, thank God she could finally get her own lightsaber. And then again, we're not talking about Rise of Skywalker.
Dude,
we're not talking about Rise of Skywalker.
I already complained about this pretty sure every Star Wars episode. I'm like, what's the hard on with this lightsaber? Just God damn it.
It's
literally
different lightsaber fans. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's literally like episode. It's in 7. Yeah, it's in 8 of the 9 episodes.
Well,
actually, no, 7 of the 9 episodes, because it's non-Return of the Jedi.
To me, that lightsaber in the new trilogy represents their connection to the old trilogy, right? Like, and when it breaks, it's like this was the point where the trilogy was really supposed to go on its own. Like, it was very a visualization of saying, we're breaking off from the past. We're going to do different things. Hold on to your butts. And then when it comes to episode 9, the fact they glued that shit back together, I was like, I knew exactly when I saw that lightsaber, I'm like, I know exactly what kind of movie this is about to be. This is like, never mind, we're just going to redo this. Just glue everything back together.
We're just going to tape it back together. Kylo's helmet, we're going to weld it back together.
Like, that's what I'm saying. I knew exactly what type of movie we were going to get. And then it was even worse than that. I was like, God damn it. But,
and again, but they had no problem smashing Vader's helmet.
Yeah, but
but no, but anyways, like to me, that's how I took all that, and like I liked all that stuff.
You just don't understand, Prosser. Don't understand.
It's different interpretations of art, Matt.
Do you guys think that throne room fight would have been better if it was the Knights of Ren?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and like to me, like if they were like a facet of the fight as well, like, because again,
talk about underused characters and lore.
Yeah. Why were the Knights of Ren should have been hunting down Finn and like Rose and shit.
So, but even I think we were talking about it a long time ago, and like,
no, it wouldn't make sense for them to hunt Jet and Rose. I think that's too small fry for them.
But Prosser made the suggestion
should have been after Rey.
They should have been in the throne room.
Like, because they're his entourage.
And so basically what you have, and again, this is your pitch to me.
Yeah.
Is that the fight should have been, so it's Rey and Kylo against the guard, but the Knights of Ren are also there fighting the guard as well. Like, it's suddenly there's more. You actually have, like, the purpose of them being there, and you show that, like...
Well, and maybe, like, some of them get taken out in the process, and, like, you actually, like... show like, oh, these royal guards are like, they're badasses as well, but you actually get to see the Knights of Ren fighting. And then again, in that scene where like Kylo takes the throne, you have the friggin' knights behind him and shit, and it's like he's seized,
or them kneeling in front of him or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
like
yeah, it would have been tight. Yeah, like the Knights of Ren were absolutely useless.
And
useless.
They're so cool looking. Have you looked at their concept art?
Yes, I have. And like, even when you see them in episode 7, you're like, who the hell are those guys?
One of them's got like a friggin' giant Buster Sword thing. One of them's got a blaster for an arm and a Mandalorian helmet. Like, freaking.
And they're just useless. It was,
and they do nothing. And
at least they showed up in episode 9.
Yes,
they probably shouldn't have, to be honest.
Like, they show up and that's it. Well, and then
there's a lot of people in episode 9. I'm like, you probably shouldn't even been there. Like, it was not even.
Well, and again, it makes no sense that they would suddenly turn turncoat on Kylo. Like, they should have been loyal to him to the end and
Mhm.
shown up at that final fight and fought alongside Rey and him. And,
Well,
like,
I
maybe
think
they get their asses wrecked by Emperor Palpatine,
so.
but, like,
The argument I have with that is, if we knew the context of what and who they were, I could agree with that.
but we have no
I
context.
have zero context.
You-
I have no clue.
You have no idea if
For
they're
all
part
we
of the
know,
First Order or if it's something that's just exclusive
like
to Kylo
Palpatine's
Ren.
army, or
Yeah.
yeah, like
The whole idea of the Knights of Ren is very nebulous, and that's the problem.
Yeah. There's no
But,
dedication.
you know what? When the wiki says they're the Kylo Ren's most mysterious and deadly service, it's like
That
you
means
mean
we have no idea.
That means wait for the Disney Plus show.
I would watch. I would gladly watch a Disney Plus show of the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, I'd watch that. Why not?
Especially if they brought Kylo. If they brought Ben back, yeah, that'd
On
be pretty
Adam
damn
Driver,
sick. I love
on
Adam Driver.
like
So
he
good.
like I'd watch him play the character again. Like, but anyways, like, so in that last scene when he's going up against Luke, he has succeeded in almost every area that Darth Vader in his mind failed. Like, he successfully destroyed his master, he seized control of the Empire, and like, so, but the only thing he hasn't done that he, like, in his brain, Vader couldn't do is kill Luke Skywalker. And to him, that is the last thing to him that would, like, put him on the level of his grandfather. So in that last
Sure.
scene, when he's like going against Luke, he's like, this is gonna make me the legendary badass of the galaxy, you know? So his frustration when he can't even land a hit on him, to me, like, that's what sells it, you know? He's unable to get the last thing that he wants is to just murder Luke. And if Luke was there in person and he actually killed him, that would just, like, it would be the same result, but his ego would have been inflated that much more.
Yeah, it was already pretty high at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas in that last moment, Luke just being like, see you around, kid, and disappearing, like, is so perfect. Because he gets cheated. He gets, like, he misses the remainders of the Resistance, and he's embarrassed in front of his troops, and he doesn't get to kill Luke. He does not get what he gets no reward for, like, continuing his evil ways, and to me that's perfect, you know.
Fair enough. Yeah. I wish they would have kept going more into like the whole Vader worship thing he had going on in Episode 7. Because then when it did come back in 9, it did feel a little jarring because they didn't really mention it too much in 8 or reference it too much. But
It's almost like they still needed a plan.
almost like they just left out things because they had no idea what's going on.
Yep.
Let's talk about Rey for a sec, because she really is like the main character. And like I'm
I
it's
guess
been a
we
lot.
haven't talked about.
We haven't
talked
talked about
about
her like
because,
the whole time.
like,
We have
at the
talked
end of
about
the
her in
day-
reference to other things, but
Mhm.
like I really like her performance. I like Daisy Ridley.
Well, that's the
Again,
thing, is
it
at the
comes
end of the
down
day, is there anything
to
wrong with her?
I think her arc is good for the most part. Between 7 and 8, but again, once you get to 9, everything just falls apart after that. But
Yeah, but to me, it's
I really like her performance though.
yeah, she's like, even with all the stuff they have her do in like Rise of Skywalker, and like she's still giving it her all, in my opinion. And like Last Jedi, any, like, again, all the people who complain about like, oh, Rey's perfect and she does everything correct, it's like she like, in that movie they emphasize like just how much she doesn't know and how
Yeah.
much she is just like trying her best, and like she has the aptitude for it, but like Luke teaches her, and like she even learns stuff from Kylo. Like, it's a whole thing where, like, any of the people complaining about, oh, she's a Mary Sue, like, they do a lot to, like,
She just
kind
didn't
of-
lose her arm. That was it.
No, exactly. It's a one thing. Should have lost her damn arm in that throne room
do-
scene.
I do feel like a lot of the times though, like her character arcs, the way she's written, she doesn't have like I never find her having like a very positive or negative character arc. She always had a very like neutral character arc. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like she very much remained the same through all the films. Like, she had a strong character, a strong personality, a strong set of ideas and morals already,
Mhm.
and she very much remained consistent, but she affected the world around her a lot of
Yeah.
the times more than the world actually affected her. Right?
Well, 'cause
Because when she came into contact with Han Solo, it's not like Han Solo changed her life, like changed her world, and I mean, minus them leaving the actual planet and stuff.
yeah.
But she brought Han Solo back into the fight. When she
Mm-hmm.
encountered Luke, it's not like she learned a whole bunch from Luke and, like, crazy growth and development. She brought Luke back into the fight. Like, she actually, more than having her own character arc and having those
Yeah.
ups and downs and those battles with temptation, because she doesn't really have it. Hers
Yeah.
is more the question, where do I come from? But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, she really affects more of the space and the people around her than
Yeah.
actually going through her own arcs herself. She's a very, like, straight lined. She has a very straight arc.
One, like, I think when Force Awakens came out, I can't remember if I'm the one, like, I know I said, like, in when Force Awakens came out, because everybody's like, oh, upset at, like, Kylo Ren and his character and all that, and I'm just like, the reason that hardcore Star Wars fans don't like Kylo Ren is because Kylo Ren is a hardcore original trilogy fan who's taking it way too far, and they see themselves in him.
Likely.
Like,
He's
he's
a hardcore Star Wars fan.
whereas, like, Rey, you could argue is, like, somebody who, like, just is in love with, like, that, like, that story, like, is in love with the story and just, like, loves those characters. Like, you could make the argument because, like, when she meets Han Solo, she's, like, super excited that she's meeting Han Solo.
Sure, yeah.
And, like, Han ends up, like you said, it gets back into the adventure because of, like, they, like, meet up with Rey and all that. And, like, when Rey goes to meet Luke Skywalker, she's like, I'm gonna meet the legendary Luke Skywalker. I'm such a big fan. And then, like, he is not all what she thinks that he is going to be.
Sure.
And the whole time she's trying to be like, no, like, you're the guy. Like, you're the reason that all this is a thing, you know? Like, you have to come back. You have to be Luke Skywalker. You're an inspiration. Like, she is the optimistic fan that wants Luke to be the guy, you know? Like,
honestly, her role is to be, like, the optimistic hero who comes in and fixes a broken galaxy. Like, literally, when you think about it, like, because, again, like, maybe she has a few moments of doubt here and there, but she never really goes from one place to another that, like I don't see, there's, and that's probably why we don't even talk about her that much. It's not because we don't like her. It's not because she's not good or, like,
It's
her
'cause,
performance
like-
are good, but her character changes. All the other characters are way more dynamic, minus, like, Finn and Poe. They don't do shit either, right? But that's on writing and stuff. But all the other
also-
characters have way deeper valleys and higher mountains, and they're way more dynamic in their growth and development. She's very much being the effect of that world around her.
But even then, we've already talked about, like, we talked about how Finn and Poe, how you'd change their stories, and
Yes.
what they would do. With Rey, like, the thing is, as you said, like, Rey doesn't need anything to change about her.
Yeah.
Like, she is good. The arc of her trying to figure out who she is perfect. And then they tried to continue that arc in the next film. They kind of dropped how they handled it. I'm not upset with I'm not upset with how it ended. I just think they dropped the ball on how it came off. That's my only thing, but we can get into that the next time we talk about it.
One, I guess, like,
But, like,
sorry.
But with this one, I like that low point of Kylo saying you're a nobody.
Mm-hmm.
I like that because, again, regardless of what the outcome is, that's the biggest blow and way that he could hurt her, because her whole journey is about finding out who she is and what her family is.
Yeah.
And so for him to, like, basically be like, oh yeah, you're a nobody and you don't matter,
Well, and again,
that's
like,
devastating.
yeah, and that, again, coming from, like, if you want to take it from the meta thing of, like, him being, like, the ultimate, like, original trilogy hardcore Star Wars nerd compared to, like, a character like Rey who's, like, new to the world.
I was raised in this. This was my
I
whole
am
life.
I'm
a
descendant
legacy.
of, yeah, and you're nobody. You don't have any meaning in the story. You're just the new girl. Like,
Well,
Sure.
and like the like not to just pile on Star Wars fans or just nerd fans in general, but, like, the amount of women I encounter who literally if they are a fan of everything, suddenly they get quizzed on like, well, name 3 planets from Star Wars if you're a
it's like-
true Star
Yeah.
Wars fan, or like,
Yeah.
name this thing, and it's so much BS, man.
like- No,
Like,
exactly.
Take it easy, guys.
but that's even how people have been with this trilogy. It's just
Mhm.
like, again, a woman is in the lead role of their film, and that's the end of the
Hey,
film world for them.
woman.
Like, guys, it's 2021. This isn't that shocking.
Like, it's fine. It's not
It's
even
not-
shocking in science fiction.
They're not real. They're not the real. She's not a real sci-fi strong woman. Because like she's not Ripley or Sarah Connor. Okay, name some more. Well, Ripley and Sarah Connor. Like, that's all. That's all the strong females I need is those two.
Captain Janeway.
Like again, it's the idea. Like, there's so many. I hate that. I hate that argument when people try and bring up. It's like, well, we've always had women in film. We've always had strong women in film. It's like,
Okay.
well, yes, we have, but like never to like the volume that we could have it at.
Not to the volume
And,
that
like-
dudes are.
And you're
either, like-
specifically using those guys. You're bringing up those. You're bringing up those two, and it's always the same two.
It's always the same two.
It's always the same two to try and say why we don't need any more
It's just like,
strong
and,
females in film.
and we're good.
Yeah, it's like we have two. Isn't that enough?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you even say?
You got the bride and Kill Bill. She's great.
And Princess
Oh man,
Leia.
I'm
Princess
telling
Leia,
you, all
she,
the
you
all the
know,
basement dwelling cousin humpers really hated this movie. 'Cause there's like a black guy, there's Asian, there's women. They're just like, oh, this is too much. This is outrageous.
I have never
and
talked
to
to
be-
anybody who isn't like me.
And to be fair,
Star Wars
like,
had plenty of
listen,
representation.
if you didn't like the movie, that's okay. If you didn't like the movie because there's an Asian person in it, you can go F yourself. Like,
Yeah,
that,
It's the
you
same
know,
thing.
like,
And that's exactly
get
it. Like,
fucked.
well, again, like the amount of hate that Rose got
That
in
was-
this movie. Like, I
Oh,
again,
Kelly
I didn't
Marie
care for
Tran, just like the actress, right? Like, yeah, how much hate like she got just for being in
And
the
like
role is
again,
absolutely ridiculous.
and again, I wasn't a huge fan of like the stuff that she was involved in, but she was good.
She was like, yeah,
No,
she
she
is an
had a
actress,
great
we're fine.
performance. Yeah.
The material she was given was not great, but then go after the writer.
Exactly.
Don't
Blame
go
the
at me.
writer. Don't blame the actor.
Yeah.
Like,
That would be like going after like every actor who's played a Nazi in a movie. It's
Yeah.
like, oh man, this actor is terrible because
Explain
they
this.
played a Nazi.
Explain this photo I found of you. That is from a movie.
Explain this.
Here you can see Max von Sydow in a Nazi uniform. It's like, yes, that was.
Which movie is that?
I can't remember.
I know you're right. No, you're right.
Yeah, Max von Sydow did play a Nazi in something. I just can't remember what it is.
Harrison Ford was in a Nazi uniform in
Cancel
a couple
Harrison
times.
Ford. You can see him here getting his book signed by Hitler.
Man.
Canceled.
like certified fresh.
Certified fresh.
But like, yeah, but that's the thing, and that's I don't get it. I don't get why people again go after actors for like if an
Just
actor
doing
makes,
their damn job.
if an actor does something that's genuinely crappy, then yes, but like for their performance in a movie, no, because that goes through so many hands.
Yeah.
That's not just them. That's them. That's also the director. That's also the writer. Then that's also the editor.
Yeah,
Or
like-
or
what if
their
the editor-
sexuality or their race or whatever, man. Like if they're a woman, like guys, stop it.
Oh, they
Go
they
back
made
to your
these
basements. Just
Exactly.
if you're that bored, go find your cousin. Like get out of here. Get out of here. We don't need that here.
But I killed all my cousins.
Oh,
Yeah, that's their problem.
the
They're like,
past.
damn
let
it,
the past
damn
die.
it. Humped him to death.
That's almost low key. That's almost where I was kind of worried that this was going to because I was kind of like there was the theories that Rey was gonna be Luke's kid, and I'm like, there's a lot of weird tension they're putting between Rey and Kylo that I really hope that's not the answer.
Yeah, that's not the case. Yeah.
Well, and again, I was never a huge fan of like having them be like
Romantic.
romantic at all, because like
Me
that to me
neither.
just like I much preferred being like more of like a brother and sister like
Seeing like
off aggression thing, like,
and that's where
or just whatever, man, like opposing forces at the end of the
Exactly.
day, right? And that's what they've always been, and that's what they got set up at the end of 8 to be, like, because
But a
like
lot of
Snoke was
people-
gone. They're the top dogs in their respective
Yes.
sides. That was the purpose. And they're like, nah, Emperor.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
bring
'cause
back
a lot of
Palpatine.
people-
You know who we haven't seen in a while?
You
A
know
lot
who
of people-
freaking died and like got blasted to a million pieces? I'm sure we could bring him back.
Let's look at the toy box and see who we can pull out here.
It's just a toy box full of Palpatine figures.
Yeah, who do we go with?
No, well, Gerald Grievous is dead. Throw him out. Christopher Lee's not around. Throw him
Honestly,
out.
I would have
It's
accepted a
only-
General Grievous. That would have been way more plausible to
General.
me. Like it would have been way like
Um,
dude's just a robot thing. Like it would have been way more plausible. Anyway,
A lot of people were shipping the whole Raylo thing because they also wanted to ship Finn and Poe together.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, well, we got to pair them all off and stuff like that. And it's like, well, I mean, I don't like at the end of the day.
or
So
you
those
could not.
those three actors all had enough chemistry with each other. They could have done any combo, and I would have been fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
They could have like, it's like Rey and Finn, perfect. Rey and Poe in the last 2 minutes of Last Jedi, they had
yeah.
so much chemistry
Literally,
together.
they had one conversation, and I'm like, I want them to be a thing.
But then also Finn and Poe as a couple would also
Yes.
be
Well,
freaking
well,
hilarious.
again, they
and
kind of
perfect.
tease it at the beginning of Rise, where they're just like, "Is he? He seems like he's in a mood always."
They have
like,
they have such a good chemistry
Mm-hmm.
as like on every level of acting that I love it, and like I think there could have been a lot of really good material to come out of that, and
No
instead we had to
plan.
ignore-
No
that's the thing, we had to
plan.
ignore.
No
We had to
plan.
ignore all of that, but then introduce like they had to ignore all of that, give Rey and Kylo their thing, and then for some reason also kind of sort of give Finn and Poe new love interests as well.
yeah, they had to give Poe a case of the not gays.
Like it
But I
was
guess this is
just
also- can you say that?
man.
I mean, it's what they did.
But again, that's more problems with Rise. But
Yeah.
but even in this film, they didn't really do anything because they just continually split up these three characters.
yeah.
They continued and people have been like, oh well, I mean J.J. Abrams split them up at the end of the first film, and it's like, well, yeah, but that's the whole point of that splitting them up is so they eventually come back together and
Yes.
do things.
And again, they don't really do that until the next movie. And
Yeah.
like, and that is one thing I will say is like is a detriment is like you don't see those three together because like they like again Poe and like Finn and Poe are great and like Finn and Rey are great and like you should have had more of like them interacting with each other and like you could have achieved that a bit with a time skip and like
Well,
kind of show
I would
them
say
on
that
an
goes.
adventure,
I mean, I would say that goes back to episode 7. Man, you got rid of Poe at the beginning of that movie. He disappeared till like the back half, or like at least the third. For sure, the third was it? Yeah, probably about like the third. You know,
yeah like
2/3
near
of the way
end
through the
second
film, he
act
didn't
is
show
when
up.
he showed up.
Yeah,
Well, and again, and the whole reason that was the thing is because they were going to kill him off, but like JJ liked Oscar Isaac so much, they're just like, we can't kill this guy off. He's charisma incarnate.
They brought him back. They brought him back at the only time they really could.
Yeah,
Like I can't see Poe showing up any earlier than when they brought him back in The Force Awakens.
hey,
but I mean,
Poe,
the
how are
fact
you
that he
alive? Good
disappeared
question
in the
for another
ship,
time.
that's my point, right? He wasn't in the ship. His jacket was in there somehow. Like, if he would have ejected from it, he was still wearing his jacket, bro. How does the jacket get left behind? Like, I'm just saying, it's a weird situation, whatever happened there.
Oh yeah, no,
And there's
agree.
no
I
reason
wanted-
for it.
I want an animated
Like, there's
short
no
of, like,
explanation.
I
But I'm
want- I
just
want an-
saying, he's still in the ship, and him and Poe find Rey together, and then they're all three together. You know, like
Yeah,
it's just
You,
I want an animated short of like
It's like,
how Poe
bruh.
got back to the Resistance.
Poe was in the ship the whole time.
it
He
just
just thought
sunk.
he was dead.
Finn was
Oh
just like, "Oh, no."
Jesus!
It just sinks, then he has to dig himself out.
Oh, what in the life day is going on?
Like again, it goes down to planning, and if you really want those three to be the big three, which they clearly did, it's like you need to put them together. Because that was the thing of the old trilogy. Those three were together in episode 4 for a good chunk of it. That whole Death
Yep.
Star thing really brought their bond together, right?
Exactly.
Then you can separate them in 5, and then 6, you bring them all back together again, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Easy.
because in 7 they weren't even all together in the first place. It was just whatever, man. Anyway. Any other let's do some final thoughts on The Last Jedi, Star Wars Episode 8.
My opinion hasn't changed, and it's terrible, and you all suck for life.
What are your final thoughts, Prosser? We'll start with you. We'll switch it up.
They killed off Admiral Akbar, so it couldn't have been as good as they wanted it to be.
See, and I liked it more because they killed off.
Oh my god!
His last line should have been, "It's a trap." What a missed opportunity.
No, his last line. This is crap.
This is crap. It's a crap.
It's a trap.
Well, and like, okay, so like like a lot of people like, oh, it should have been Admiral Akbar piloting the ship into like doing the suicide run thing. It's just like,
I didn't want him to die until exactly the moment that I wanted him to die.
Well, then don't get mad that they killed him. And like, also, like, I would have been fine with them not killing him, but also like how. Listen, we all like Admiral Akbar, but like Admiral Akbar doing a suicide run, a guy named is probably not the best way to end that character. Like, maybe we shouldn't do that, but it's fine. It's like I don't know. Like a lot of people got really
just line up the ship. It's a trap. Then just fire it off.
But like,
you activated my trap card.
well, that's I guess we didn't really touch on it. People who complain about that whole. Oh, why wouldn't they just keep flying ships into people, and that was a stupid maneuver and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, no, that was a cool moment. Yeah. I liked that.
That was the only good moment from that whole space chase. That was like that was it.
It was different. It was
awesome.
And
sound design, yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
Anybody who's like, well, why wouldn't they just do that? It's like that's
you know how expensive.
What kind of stupid idea is that? Like let's buy a bunch of ships and drive them into each other. Like
if our navies and like submarines and all that stuff, they just drove into each other rather than shooting at each other.
Yeah, look at real life.
Could you imagine?
The only literally the Zeros are the only example of that, but still like
they were made incredibly cheap.
Yeah,
and it was specifically like
if you're gonna
crash into something.
Yeah. And like, still, that's a person you have to brainwash into being like, "Oh yeah, this is the best option."
Yeah.
It's like clearly, the B-2 bombers are gonna be used for suicide runs all the time. Like, it just that boggles the mind. It's just like it's literally a last-ditch effort thing, and like it was an awesome moment. Like, like it's fine. Like
if only they had Star Trek transportation, like teleportation, then the ships could have survived.
Exactly.
That's why Star Trek is better than Star Wars.
Oh no! You're gonna start a war right now.
Matt's never watched Star Trek.
Oh my god.
And he should, because it's actually good.
Star Trek's quite good. Yeah,
it is.
That's what you should do for the next series. Is like have Matt watch a Star Trek movie and then discuss.
Oh, I wasn't saying the movies. I'm talking like the shows.
Oh, the show. Yeah,
the movies are all right.
Oh my god. Anyway.
No,
like overall, like I said, it's a movie that I absolutely love 60% of it, and then there's about 40% that's a massive mixed bag. So that's just my opinion. I still really like it. It's my 5th favorite Star Wars movie. I still like it quite a bit.
Fair enough. Ethan, your final thoughts?
Not much has really changed. I don't hate it. I'm just critical of the thing that frustrates me is a lot of people think when I'm critical of something, it means I didn't like it or I didn't have a good time with it.
Because you can't have a nuanced opinion on something.
I honestly, there's a lot of things I'm hypercritical of that I love to watch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, because it's still fun to watch. Yeah, overall, my opinions really haven't changed too much. I wish they could have done better with the trilogy overall, and I think that's been my big takeaway this entire time we talked about Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Is like, it's fine.
Well,
it just could have been great. It could have been great, but they made a couple of the wrong decisions, and that's neither here nor there. Force Awakens is still great, but the disappointment that eventually this trilogy goes into just.
Well, I think it's something that I like. Again, maybe it would be more worth discussing with the next movie, but it's like with Force Awakens, you have like a really solid movie, but there's a lot of people who like didn't like people who love The Force Awakens generally do not like Last Jedi, and there's a lot of people who they don't like Last Jedi, like who they love Last Jedi, but they hate The Force Awakens. And then like with Rise of Skywalker, they made a movie that made neither of those groups happy. So like,
It's true.
like because you don't get because there's a lot of things in Last Jedi that I think if you had paid those things off in a solid way and like built on the things that were set up in Last Jedi in the next movie, I think a lot of people would have come around on Last Jedi being the middle chapter.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people who are huge fans of who are not huge fans of Force Awakens, but really like Last Jedi, if they had actually like brought it back around and like incorporated the things that were set up in Force Awakens in the last movie in an interesting way, those people probably would have come around on Force Awakens and loved it as a whole trilogy. Because that was the big argument everyone was having when Force Awakens came out as, oh, it's a trilogy. You can't judge. They're building this one as a trilogy, unlike the original trilogy where they kind of built it over time. And like the prequels where things were kind of changing. This one has been designed from the ground up to be a trilogy. So you got to wait till all three are out to really see the big picture. And as we know,
There was no big picture.
there was no big picture. There was just...
There was
just
like
chaos.
probably one of those kids drawing pads that you get at restaurants for children. They just gave them a bunch of crayons and like just color in all the spaces, make whatever animal, whatever color you want, and just have a blast. Like that's what it was. There's no
what
big
it
picture.
was is like it's three families who went to Montana's together, and then
All
like
colored on the table.
no. Every half hour they played musical chairs and they went to a different table.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, no. Two families, and then like they played musical chairs, went to different tables, and then the kid started drawing on the first kid's drawing.
Yeah, sure.
And like
yeah.
did his own thing, and then the first kid came back again and said, "What the hell? This isn't my drawing anymore." And then he tried to cover up all the stuff that the second kid did.
Yeah.
And then it just turned it into a mess.
It was a mess. Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I think for myself, when it comes to the Last Jedi, I don't think any of us were coming here to try and change the other person's opinion at all.
No.
I think overall, I think we do agree. On this film, like just to different levels, right? Like some of us just enjoyed it a little bit more. Some of us ended up saying, there's more things that I'm more critical of than I enjoyed, so I don't really like this film. But for myself, I really liked it. I liked talking about and hearing some of your guys' ideas. At the end of the day, it's still, it's probably, I don't know if I want to go that far. Because now I might be changing my rankings again. I'm just thinking about, the different rankings,
like more or less.
Like when I spend time thinking about it, like just spending time talking about like the different character arcs and the journeys. I'm not sure. I don't know. It might be more. It might be more now. I think like I really liked Force Awakens and I really liked Last Jedi. Force Awakens, I didn't have as many things to be critical on. I thought it overall was a great first step. Obviously, it loses a lot of points because then after that, everything just went to shit. Nothing ever resolved.
Well, it's
like I said.
But Last Jedi, it's like I liked it for very different reasons because it was such a different film.
Well, it's like to compare it to like an actual like great trilogy. Force Awakens has a lot in similarity with Fellowship of the Ring, where it's literally it's the first step to this new journey, and they knew they were making a trilogy from the get-go.
Yeah.
So things were set up to be a trilogy. Yeah, we had one threat of Starkiller Base that they beat, but there's still the threat of the First Order. We knew that was going to be a thing.
There was a through line.
However, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker were nowhere near the level of continuation of that story with Two Towers and Return of the King.
Yeah, no, not even close. Those felt like cohesive pieces that fit into place and told a complete story, where this just simply did not.
Well, and like, and again, like as much as like, because I really like Rian Johnson as a director, it almost feels as though, but again, I can't even guarantee that because like, like if they just stuck with the same creative team and just shot them all back to back, like 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
But again, it's hard. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I don't even think necessarily you even always need the same creative team. You just need someone to oversee it. Like you just need someone who, like everyone, you need to have a big picture. You need to have a plan. You need to say, this is the direction we're going. Let's all work to get there together. Yeah, they had no end goal. They had no end point. They had no points in between that. They just had every movie as it stood on its own. And that was the problem.
You need your Kevin Feige to sit there and be like, no, because that doesn't work with this thing. You need to do this instead.
Well, and with something like Star Wars, every a trilogy just needs a shepherd. It just needs someone overseeing it. That's at the end of the day. Like any trilogy, any story that you're doing in threes, right? Like anything that you need to have a through line in, someone needs to see the big picture. Not everybody. Like the guy running the coffees to all the different people, he doesn't need to see the big picture.
No.
But somebody does. And here, nobody did. And that was a problem. But like Last Jedi overall, I really like the film. At the end of the day, we talked about his problems and its issues, but I think a lot of the character work, the stuff with Kylo Ren, with Luke, with Rey, really just brought it home for me. I loved the character stuff in this film.
100%.
But that's it, I guess, for our chat on Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Thank you for joining us. It was a good time. It was a good chat. It's nice to be back. Good to talk to Prosser.
Question of the day today.
Always great to have him around. Oh, I totally forgot. I don't know.
Say,
are we
not doing question of the day?
I totally forgot. I don't have a question. You got a question?
I do.
Okay, Ethan, question
Ethan's
of
got
the
a
day.
question.
I totally forgot. See, I've been away for 2 weeks. I'm like, I don't remember how this goes.
You forgot the format.
I totally forgot how this thing goes.
I don't think Matt actually listened to the podcast when he was gone at all.
I did. I just forget things.
I think he said he did, but I think it's a lie.
I just forget things.
If there was one piece of Star Wars memorabilia that you could have, what would it be?
Luke's green lightsaber.
That's it. Out of everything you could possibly have.
Yeah, bro. I really like that lightsaber.
Let's talk about this for a second here. Like, are we talking like of everything or like just the toys?
Everything. If there's any piece of memorabilia that you could take from any of the Star Wars films, what would it be?
Well, obviously, I want Boba Fett's jetpack.
It's a prop still.
It doesn't work, Prosser. Jeez, I thought you understood things, man.
Item.
Well,
I'm saying any
what's
piece
the
of,
limit?
I thought you understood things.
Any piece of memorabilia that you could get from the movie.
Shut your gob,
Like,
Matt.
would you want one of the spaceship models? Like, would you want something like that? Would you want like? Because you wouldn't get like a full size space. Like, I'm not talking like this is a real thing that translates into the world.
But say I could have a costume or something like that.
You could have a costume, a prop piece. Makeup effect
or Vader's suit. I just wouldn't fit in it. That was the only problem. Like, I'm way too short to wear Vader's suit, so I'll take the lightsaber.
Would you want a custom fitted Vader suit?
Easy. No, because it would look ridiculous. I would look like an Ewok in a Vader suit. Like, it would just not be good.
You'd look like those like exaggerated posters of like Vader's helmet being super wide.
Yeah, I would look like Darth Helmet from freaking Spaceballs. That's exactly what I'd look like. Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, I'll take the lightsaber. I'll take that lightsaber.
Like,
I love
honestly, like, I mean, like, I guess I was kind of joking about that, but honestly, like, I would love my own like suit of Mandalorian armor, like, and maybe it would start off as like kind of like the base one, and I could like customize it a bit. But like, I just love, like, especially like watching the Mandalorian, like season 1 and 2, and like seeing Boba Fett back and all that. I'm just like, man, I love the design of Mandalorian armor. Like, I would love my own suit in that style. That'd be a lot of fun. The other thing would be the Darksaber, but like that's coming out. I'm gonna get that. So, because the Darksaber is just awesome. But I would say I'd say like a Mandalorian armor of some sort, whether it's Din Djarin's or what have you.
Ethan, what about you, man?
I'd probably go custom fitted stormtrooper costume. It's something I've wanted for a very long time. Just 'cause I love the design of stormtroopers, and whether it be Force Awakens or original trilogy, like either of those is cool. That or like honestly, the model, an actual like legitimate model of like one or two of the ships would also be dope.
Mm.
Like full size, like big Millennium Falcon just hanging
That'd
just
be
on
pretty
a
cool.
shelf on display. Like
Oh.
there's so many really cool things, right? Like that's
I can't have a full scale version of like because memorabilia doesn't extend to like locations, does it?
what do you mean?
Because I would love like in
You
my
can't
house.
memorable be a desert, bro.
No, I'm just
It'd
saying
be
like
something you'd have to be able to buy.
you could technically buy this. Like if I could just have a basement that was just a perfect recreation of the Mos Eisley Cantina.
With the different aliens around
Yeah.
and stuff.
Oh, 100%. That'd be amazing. Like, I would have so many parties. Like, I would host so many parties.
Just no room for people to sit though, because the aliens
Yeah,
take up
'cause
all the
there's
spaces.
aliens.
People are like this is cool, but it's
see-
kind of bullshit for
Hey,
parties.
can I move the weird werewolf looking guy? No, he has
Yeah.
to stay where he is. It is a collector's item.
I don't know if I'd design it off that. I feel
Or
like
the
there's-
Millennium Falcon would be kind of cool. Like having like a basement that looks like the Millennium Falcon
See, that
interior.
would be more cool because it's not as dingy, right? Like,
Or like the cockpit could be like a gaming station, and like the screen is just a big monitor. Like that'd be pretty fun. You do space simulators. That'd be cool.
I like you up this from like I want a prop to like I want a whole
I
house.
want the interior of the Millennium Falcon and some props.
Just always taking it one step too far. It's too
Still
far,
though.
Prosser.
You're telling me you wouldn't want that? If you could have the interior, this is another question. If you could have the
Well, think about
interior of a
cleaning
ship, yeah. Well, no, like with the Millennium Falcon and the Mos Eisley Cantina, it looks dirty anyway, so it's fine.
No, I would not. Like, no. I would disown you so fast as a friend.
It's fine.
If you let that get dusty and dirty and deteriorate, I would be so mad at you.
It's okay. It's fine. It's all fine. No time for that. Hosting too many parties.
Just the nasty, sticky ass floors and shit. It's
Wait,
part
why
of the
the-
experience, man.
Honestly, even,
Exactly.
like a crate dragon skull would be dope too.
Ooh.
Like,
Or sorry, woo!
oh man, like a Tuscan, the Tuscan. I can't remember what they're called.
The
Tuscan
rifle.
Raider.
Nope, not the rifle. The stick, the gaffy stick.
Gaffy,
stick?
Yeah.
Man, like that's the thing. There's so much cool stuff you could get from like.
Was that what Boba
Let-
Fett
okay,
was
let's-
using in
Yeah.
The Mandalorian? Was a
Yeah.
gaffy stick?
Yeah.
Those things are brutal, man.
Oh yeah. Let's also all be honest. If we could get custom fitted Jedi robes, we'd all be there.
Well, of course. I wear that
Yeah.
shit all the time.
Not mine and Matt's pseudo made.
Oh no, like
grade 12.
no, I'm 100% getting the Count Dooku version of it though. Like,
Of course you would. The tunic and the cape.
yes, yes.
See, I want to keep asking you about
I would go
what
to
kind of
pu-
design would you want to go with?
I would
that
go to
stuff,
so
but,
many
like,
soirees dressed as Count Dooku.
Too bad you can never have that beard.
How dare you.
Oh, bro, just man, low kick.
No, I'd also buy a wig, and then
I said the beard.
I'd glue a beard on.
Just patchy little like
Patchy.
cotton balls.
Yes.
Ah.
Welcome to my humble abode. As you can see, my recreation of the Mos Eisley Cantina for your amusement.
Ah, see, and like honestly, if I was to, like this is more questions, but like, what kind of Jedi robes would you go? Because like for me, I think Luke from Episode 6. That's like the sleekest. Like
Actually, yeah,
The black,
sleekest
yeah.
looking- yeah. You got a cape with
it just
too,
it looks badass. Like
right?
his outfit in Episode 6 is just badass.
And it's not traditional Jedi tunic, so you don't feel kind of as goofy, but like it's also not like it's such a weird thing of like this mix of Jedi tunic and flight suit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And, like-
it fits his character 100%, and it also fits kind of like the because like Luke has a bit more of a darkness to him than a lot of other Jedi, and it was reflected in his design. Plus, again, the contrast with the green lightsaber on the black outfit
Is
just
so good,
works.
yeah.
But
yeah.
also Han's costume is so dope too. Like not Episode 4 because like the vest is kind of
The jacket?
but like when he gets the jacket,
Yeah,
friggin' love that man.
no,
Like
I want his coat from Episode 7. It looks
even
like
his coat from Episode 5.
That is a great coat.
There's so many cool things. That's the problem.
This-
Even an orange. Let's be honest. Again, an orange flight suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was offered.
No, I wouldn't buy that.
You're not a fan.
Nah.
Doesn't fit Matt's sensitivities.
No.
Fair enough.
Give me some Palpatine robes. I'll just sit there and be like, meh.
Oh, there you go.
That's just
Just like the
bathrobe.
super deep
It's
hood.
just-
Well, dude, hey man. At least I'm not gonna look ridiculous in it.
No, you want the robes from you want the robes from you want the robes from episode 3 with like the red and shit.
No, you want the robes from episode 9 where he's just straight, basically Hugh Hefner.
Yes.
At that
No.
point, like,
Oh yeah, his red robe that makes him look like Satan in the 9th movie.
on the nose costume design. Anybody?
Oh yes.
What does that even mean? He's just like,
Well, the
let
weird
this
thing is,
be
like-
the last chapter of rebellion. Like,
Rebellion.
what the hell does that even mean, man? Like, you're just spouting nonsense right now.
Because he's he's been resurrected how many times? His brain is probably
Yeah, his
fried.
brain
Let
is
this
just
be the last chapter in the
story
story,
of
of
rebellion.
rebellion. Oh my god.
Excuse me.
made it.
So too as Skywalker failed, whatever you will fall to. It's just like, shut up, man. You're just being ridiculous. Who wrote this?
ready for a party.
That would've been better. That would've
Drop
been
that
better.
bass. It starts playing Sandstorm.
Yeah, it'd be pretty great.
Yeah.
Man, episode
Oh
9.
man, we're all
God,
dying, but the
episode
tunes are so great.
9.
Our shields aren't able to reflect bass of this magnitude.
And how the lightning only hit like the good guy's ship. I'm like, this
Yeah,
is
that's-
not how any of this
Like, what?
shit works.
How does that work?
Not even the lightning in general is ridiculous. The fact that it only hit.
I didn't think this through. All of my ships are fucked.
Just ruins his own plan. God damn it!
It took me 3 decades to assemble my fleet, and I screwed it up in 2 seconds.
It's just like Legos. I'll put them back
I'll
together.
put them back together through the sheer will of the dark side, apparently.
No, it's just been 30 years of him sitting like
the
in
dark
a room
side is a
building
pathway
it.
to many abilities. Some consider to be unnatural.
Yes, mechanics is unnatural.
Yes.
Like, you're just like, dude, that's not even reason, man. We're all
Also,
like, going into the movie, number one question: how is Palpatine back? That's their answer. Get
just
the hell
wipe it
outta
away,
here.
wipe it away.
Somehow he came back. Fortnite explains that.
Somehow.
Fortnite.
Poe just comes on, as you all know from playing Fortnite last night. Palpatine has returned.
Oh God, I hate
Gonna pound
that.
some
I
noobs.
hate that we live in this world.
Just Emperor
Well-
Palpatine running around with a machine gun.
On that cheery ass note,
Yeah.
let's wrap this bad boy up here.
Okey Dave.
Ethan, where can the good folks find you here?
You can find me at Ethan R. Hill on Instagram. You can find me at Ethan R. Hill on YouTube. And you can find mine and Prosser's feature film Damned Rights at realhouse.org for rental, buying, downloading, streaming, all that fun stuff. And yeah, so that's where you can find me. Prosser, how
Cool,
about you?
sexy. What about you, Prosser?
You can find me at thatjprosser on Instagram. You can find my YouTube channel under Jesse Prosser. And what he said about the movie, you can find it there, rented and all that jazz. Support us. Send us some cash. Why not?
Give
take direct
us
deposit.
money. You
Well,
will
just-
give us
just-
money.
just send me some money.
Or
not? I
if you
think
want,
Venmo
you just
and,
send me some money
just-
in the mail.
just
That's
send
cool
me
too,
some
man.
money.
E-transfer me.
Uh,
Just let me know.
Patreon's, OnlyFans, one of those. I don't know. What do the
Only
kids do?
We don't have an account,
What
but
are-
hey,
what
we'll
are
take
the-
your money.
What are the kids doing these days? PayPal? Is that still a thing?
Oh man.
Anyways.
And you can find me on Twitter at GK Radio Man, and you can find my other podcast, Gaming Night Radio, for all things gaming. Celebrate the best, call out the worst on any of the podcast platforms. Go check it out. We have a fun time. We're going to talk about this next episode coming up. That's actually probably out at the same time as this. Gamescom, and looking at the future and giving Sony shaming. God damn it, Sony. Shame on you. Shame
Shame.
on you. And then we're like, yay, Sony! That's pretty much how the episode's going. Shame, Sony. Yay, Sony! So come by for that. That'll be fun. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. They're slapping each other again.
Again?
Ethan,
Anyway.
quit beating up your co-host, damn it. It's the last time I'm telling you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ow.
Anyway, this has been A Feast of Films, the Star Wars Episode 8 episode. I'm your host, Matt Ayalew, and with me as always is...
Ethan R. Hill.
And with him, as always, is...
Jesse Prosser.
Yeah! And we will see you guys next week for another episode. So long.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo.
There we go. Bye, guys.
That was actually really smooth.
Yeah, there we go.